So hello you guys and welcome back to my channel. Today's special guest for my Halloween special lineup is the incredible Lauren Lee Smith. I have made it no secret that my favourite Halloween film of all time is Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat, Trick or Treat. Okay, I can't light up the LED sign because it's blinding and it messes with my camera, but that is a Trick or Treat LED sign. It's one of my all-time favourite horrors, and it is my all-time favourite Halloween film. I will only watch it on Halloween night. That's my special little ritual. So I reached out to Lauren, and she was kind enough to say yes and sit down and talk and share some stories from set about, everything from the first impression of the script to what it was like on set to what the prosthetics were like. Oh, we talked all things Halloween, all things horror film. She is such a lovely person. It was an absolute delight to get to talk to her. I sound like a broken record, but this is my favourite style of content. It is my absolute favourite type of video to create. And I'm always so, so grateful when somebody agrees to give me a little bit of their time and to reminisce on their projects and to talk with me and to trust me as a place where they can open up about their favourite projects or a certain particular point in time in their career. It's brilliant, and she was such an absolute lovely human. As always, of course, I'll link down all of the relevant links to her socials down below if you want to go give her a follow. And yeah, here's my chat with Lauren. So first of all, thank you for agreeing to sit down and chat to me. It means the world.
Oh, of course, it's my pleasure. Yeah, absolutely.
So I was thinking we could start off by going back to the very beginning for you, and was there a moment that you can pinpoint where you realized that acting or a career in the arts was a viable career path?
Yeah, it's absolutely there was. I believe it was 1986. And I watched Labyrinth. And I remember just like Jennifer Connelly as Sarah, and then David Bowie. That was like my first crush. I remember seeing David Bowie, and I was just like, what is this? What is this world? How do I get there? And also, like, just Jim Henson in general, like, really sort of, I think was my first inspiration. Just all of his characters, like the Dark Crystal was, a huge influence for me. But yeah, like Labyrinth, I remember watching Jennifer Connelly and like going, how do I do that? How do I get to do that? I want to like create those worlds and get to be in movies like that. And at that time, no one in my family was in the film industry or anything. So I just started taking drama classes as a kid and doing theater. It's very funny because I was an incredibly shy child. I'm still pretty shy, but for some reason, like that's acting as my one outlet, I guess. But yeah, it wasn't like, Breakfast at Tiffany's or Audrey Hepburn. It was literally Jim Henson and David Bowie that, yeah, inspired me.
It's funny that you said that you were shy because that's something I'm finding is a very, very common thread. Whenever I ask that question, it always comes up. Usually the other person will say, it was an after school program, or my parents
Yeah.
thought I was too shy, so they tried to get me out there.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I genuinely like hate being the center of attention. I hate having all eyes on me. Like it's the idea of like doing any type of public speaking or anything like that is just like my biggest nightmare. And as a kid, yeah, we moved around a lot, and so I was always, the new kid and always, pretty reserved and shy. And I guess it sort of was a way for me to go outside of that. And yeah, yeah, it's funny, but that's interesting that you hear that often.
Yeah, and does it bleed in then with your work, or does it turn off completely as soon as you get started on a project?
It's funny for me. It literally goes right up until they say action. Like if I am on set, and to this day, I've been doing it for, 26 years. If I like start looking around at all of the crew members and like and like acknowledging that everyone's kind of like waiting for me to start acting, I get like really panicked. So I have to kind of like shut it out. And then the minute they say action, it's like totally fine. I can do whatever, and then cut. I'm just like back to be like, okay, anyways, stop looking at me.
Yeah, look away, please.
Look at me.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird. It's so weird. I don't know.
It must be a great outlet, though, in a way.
It has been, honestly. Like I think it was God, it was so important for me, especially like, in my early 20s, and like, just that time of like trying to figure out who you are. And when you go through all of those phases of like self exploration and trying to like, you, I don't know. I feel like it's very common that we all go through that phase of like, who are we? Um, and try on different hats of sort of ideas of who we might want to be. And so it really, I think, helped me a lot in my early career for sure. Yeah.
I imagine turning around to your parents and saying, acting, I'm going to be an actress. It's a very unconventional job. Were they supportive? Were your friends and family supportive?
Yeah, they were. I mean, I guess in a way, luckily, I grew up in a very unconventional family, in a very unconventional way. We moved around a lot as a kid. My mom really tried to like create this like, you know, we're getting to see the world and explore different things. When I said that I wanted to be an actor, they were very supportive because we had already been living in this very sort of unconventional way. They didn't really know what it meant or what it would sort of take. So for a long time during my childhood, it really just meant wherever we were living, I would join, some theater classes or whatever school I was going to. I would make sure that I would try to, be in the class play or eventually one of my mom's friends, she was a talent agent, and so she would start sending me out for commercials and stuff when I was a kid. So yeah, that's how it all kind of started.
That's wild. And
Yeah.
and with the commercials then, that's something that comes up a lot too. The idea of not necessarily being scouted, but like with smaller roles for commercials. And I always joke with my parents. Side note, we were in New York years back for my uncle's wedding, and this guy came up to my mom. We were in a mall somewhere, and he was like, "Oh, we have a commercial for I don't remember what it was." He was like, "But here's the
Yeah.
card. Bring her along. We'd love for her to like screen test."
Oh wow.
The day that it was for was the day of my
Yeah.
uncle's wedding. So we
Oh,
couldn't do it. And to this day, I don't let them live it down. I'm like, I could have been some.
I could have been a big star.
Exactly. But like commercials and like TV shows, they're a lot shorter format, I guess, than committing to a film in terms of
Yeah.
scheduling and stuff like that. Does it change for you how you approach stuff if it's like a show format or a movie?
Yeah, I mean, it used to be, I feel like things have changed so much in the industry. Like when I first started out, it really felt like, everyone wanted to only do films. And that was the thing. It's like, I want to be a film actor. And TV was like a little bit, below, which is so ridiculous. But there was definitely that sort of vibe happening, I think, like in the late 90s, early 2000s. And so I kind of came out of the gates really like wanting to be a character actor and wanting to do films and wanting specifically to do independent films.
Mm.
Um, and it took me a while. Like I didn't fit that mold really. I very much looked like a girl next door, like with the blonde hair and the big blue eyes. So I definitely got cast more in television and in those types of roles. Um, and now it's funny as I get older, I appreciate so much the longevity and the consistency of TV work. Especially after becoming a mom, I really like knowing what my schedule is going to look like. I like knowing that I'm working for a certain amount of time and then I can have a certain amount of time off. And also just the way that TV is made now is so different, right? Like we have all of these streaming platforms and we're making TV like films were made, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So, and I also think TV is it's really great to be able to explore characters and sort of see where they're going to go and, really see a character through. So,
Mm.
yeah, I would say it's a mix really, but TV has been, very good to me over the last several years. So I have a deep appreciation for it. Yeah.
I'd say as well that there is, like you said, that form of comfort in knowing the routine and the scheduling that as a viewer, I tend to generally gravitate more towards shows as well, like as a comfort,
Yeah.
because there's
Yeah.
scheduling, when is the next episode going to be or the next season. So it's interesting that the actor has that perspective too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's like we all crave that sort of like, ooh, I have something to look forward to and I can tune in every week and see where it's going. And it's a journey as opposed to just one sort of like, you know, 2 hour experience, which
Yeah.
can also be, of course, but yeah, I think there's a place for both.
Speaking of a 2 hour experience, even though it's not 2 hours, it's technically an hour and a half, I think. This little film that I might have seen once or twice, Trick or Treat. Okay, I'm a big horror nut. Love all things horror, like everything, films and shows. I'd seen them all, loved them all the classics. I was a bit late to the game with Trick or Treat. I don't think I watched Trick or Treat until I was like 17, 18-ish.
Yeah, yeah.
Blew me away. Let me
Oh,
tell you. The amount of twists and turns. And for you, when you got the script, did you get the whole script or did you just get like your little part?
oh my gosh. So this is a kind of a crazy story. When I went in to audition for Trick or Treat, the only thing I knew was I got some audition sides, so like 4 or 5 pages,
Mhm.
and all I was told was that it's for a Halloween movie, and you play a party girl who's dressed up as Cinderella. That's all I knew. That's literally all I knew. So I went in and I did the audition and completely forgot about it. And it was like a month later, I got a call saying, "Oh, you got the part." And I was like, "Oh, cool. That's great. I like can't wait to find out more about it."
Yeah.
And they were very, very secretive with the script and didn't really want to give anything away until we were actually, in production.
All right.
So I had no idea until I went to my first wardrobe fitting what I was playing or what the film was even about. I remember them like, they're like, okay, so, we're going to do the Cinderella costume for you.
Mhm.
And then, we need to make all of these special cutaways because, when you transform into a wolf, then we're going to want to do. And I was like, what? What is it? I had no idea until my wardrobe fitting. It was the wardrobe woman who told me what was going to happen in the film.
Because I had wondered that. I was like, well, obviously you auditioned for like Cinderella girl, but she's not Cinderella girl because she's a wolf. And how do you
Yeah.
even begin to approach
Yeah.
that? Like,
No idea. I had no idea. And then they were like, oh, and you get to play Anna Paquin's sister. And I was like, what?
and
Oh, and
also,
by the way, Brian Cox is in this movie. And I was like, what?
and it's kind of an anthology, but it's not because they all tie together.
Yeah, yeah. So then when I finally got the script, and I was able to read it, and I knew, okay, this is going to be something really cool and really special. And Michael Dougherty, the director, obviously he's incredible. And yeah, I mean, I also love horror. I love thriller. I love it all. I love Halloween. So I was really excited. I was really, really excited. Yeah.
So that must have been a great twist for you then, hearing
It
that
was a very great twist.
transform the wolves. And there's scenes as well, like the whole film stylistically, I love it because I love how it was shot and I love how it was done. But the forest scene always kind of stuck out to me because of the twist that your group of characters
Yeah.
had. Because
Yeah.
as a woman, you're watching it and all the red flags are going up, and I'm like, girl, don't go into the forest.
What are you thinking? Yeah.
Exactly. And that
Yeah.
twist was so hit you in the face. And I think it was made so much more special by the fact it was out in this forest and it was kind of foggy and it was creepy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that a soundstage or was it on location?
That was actually a soundstage that they built in West Vancouver, and it was amazing. It was so beautiful. They did such an incredible job, and we were there for several days. But I think because we were working so much with the animatronics as well as incorporating all of like the pieces, certain pieces on each of us, and then they would bring in the animatronics. We also had to have like I remember getting these contact lenses, which I've never experienced before, but they were so big that they had to have like a special person with each of us because you couldn't blink when they were in your eyes. And so someone would just have to like follow you around and put drops in your eyes couple of minutes. So I think because of all of that, logistically, it just made more sense for it to all be on a soundstage, to have more control of all of the elements. And also, it was nice because it was a bit warmer. So, but yeah, they did such a good job of creating that world in the forest. Some of the stuff with Anna and Dylan Baker, where they were like walking through, I believe that was on location.
Mm.
But like the dancing stuff and with all of the girls, it was on a soundstage.
It's funny that you bring up the contacts because I remember, well, I got to talk to Jameson Newlander, who played one of the Frog Brothers in The Lost Boys. And
Yeah,
in I think it was the third film in the franchise, he said the same thing, that there was these big chunky contacts. And he was like, it was impossible to work with them
it
in.
was the worst. Yeah. I don't know. Like I also had, I mean, it's probably good that I didn't really know what to expect or hadn't been thinking about it beforehand, but I just remember, and all of us experienced the same thing. And it was just so uncomfortable. And they were so difficult to get in your eyeball and to like
Yeah.
fit properly. And then once they're there, you're just like, oh my God, I cannot blink, which is a very weird feeling. It's very claustrophobic. But it looked so cool. I remember we were all like taking photos of each other because we couldn't take photos of ourselves. This was like, I remember I think I had a BlackBerry at that time. But yeah, we were all like trying to get close-ups of our eyeballs.
And then with so before they bring in the animatronic scene, the transformation scene where you just start hacking bits of yourselves off. How
Yeah.
long did that take to put on? They were all practical effects, weren't they? It was all prosthetic.
Yeah. There was a lot of prosthetics. It was really cool. They used one of my tattoos on my back, the Nil Desperandum, which they ended up using in the movie, which I thought was really cool. But they built that whole back piece with my like tattoo on it. But all of that was done like before. So all of the pieces that we each individually had
Mm.
were already pre-made and everything. And so they would just put on like little piece by piece. But yeah, it was a long process, like that those few days that we were shooting those scenes, because there were so many little elements and so many different little bits and pieces. Um, and also like when you're shooting it, you have no idea how it's all going to come together. And I just remember going to the premiere and seeing that scene and then having the Marilyn Manson song and like the dancing and how it all sort of evolves. And I was just like, oh, this is so cool.
I was going to ask that. I was going to ask about your first experience actually seeing it from start to finish, like the whole film.
Yeah, we went to the premiere in LA, and it was so cool. I got to take my little brother, he was in town, and so that was a really cool experience to get to share with him. And that was my first time seeing it. Yeah. And it's so funny because like the film itself, right? Like I think it did okay when it came out, but if I remember correctly, it really didn't have like the certainly following that it does now. And it kind of was, under the radar a little bit, and people didn't really know about it. And it's so crazy because a couple of years ago, my daughter, when she started really getting into Halloween, we went to like it's called Spirit of Halloween here, and it's like one of the huge Halloween costumes and decorations and whatever. And we go every year now. And I remember, I think 4 or 5 years ago, going in there, and there was a whole section dedicated to trick or treat, and I had like no idea how the film had sort of evolved and how it became this like cult film. So I was like, I remember rushing home going, what the hell, like when did this happen? Like 10, 15 years after the movie was made.
Yeah.
So it's so cool. Like, I can't wait. My daughter like really wants to be able to see the film. She's not quite there yet. But every time, like we were there yesterday at Spirit of Halloween getting her Halloween costume, and she was like, oh my God, there's Sam. Like she wants me to dress up as Sam. She wanted the dog. There's like a dog costume of Sam.
Oh
So we
my
were like, do we
God.
get that? Maybe one year when she's old enough to actually see the movie. I was like, I'll let you dress up as the Cinderella werewolf. We'll do that one year.
That would be so adorable. Oh my
Yeah.
God. But no, you're so right because I would have been about 17-ish, which would have put it about 10 years ago. And I hadn't even heard of it when I saw it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hadn't even heard of it. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is
Right?
amazing. But then
Yeah.
trying to find merch, because like I said, I'm a collector, find it anywhere. And I was like, well, shit, like, okay, I guess it's just one of those things that you can just kind of love from afar. And then a few
Yeah.
years ago, there was just an explosion of like, there's figures, there's shirts.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I have no, I'm so curious how it all sort of came about. But I do remember the first few years after it was made, like it was, it was like a little cool Halloween movie, but it did not have the traction at all. So I don't know if it got like re-released. I know that every year, like in LA, they do like a big screening at the Hollywood Cemetery, and they've done like other re-releases here. But yeah, it's really cool how it's taken on this whole other life now. It's really, really cool.
Oh God, I wish I could go to that. I'd be that one freak up
I
in the center,
know.
like, let's
I
go.
know. One year I'm gonna make it. One year I'm
Oh,
gonna
you
go as
should.
well.
And you should go in full
Yeah.
costume as well. Just
Right? Yeah.
people would lose their
Totally.
mind. We don't have anything like that here. In like,
No,
no, no, I'm
you could
down.
start one. You could start it.
I feel like Halloween in general, it's just not that big of a deal here for some reason. I'm the
Right.
southwest of Ireland, and it's like we just a few years ago, like our basic regular shops have now started putting out like Halloween decorations and doing their
Yeah.
collection. But
Okay.
it was
It's
never,
not the same. Yeah,
no,
yeah. Okay. Did the kids go trick or treating? Is that a thing?
not many.
Not really. Oh, funny.
No,
Okay.
because
Yeah.
I'm that sado that waits by the door with the bowl, and I'm like, we're
With
gonna
the
get
bowl.
this year, and then nobody comes, and my brother will just walk up and be like, I'll take some of it, like I'll eat
Yeah,
some.
I'll do it.
With the film like this as well, I feel like it has really like cemented itself in terms of particularly Halloween like icon status.
Yeah.
Year after
Yeah.
year, it's kept the rewatch factor. I keep it specifically for Halloween night. I will not watch it any other night of the year. And
Oh my gosh, amazing.
every year, Halloween night, it's like we know what we're doing. There's one plan
Oh
in
my God.
the street. Uh,
Oh, I love that.
and considering you just said that you're a horror girly and you love horror, do you have a film
Yes.
like that that every year is like your holy grail for Halloween?
That every year I watch. Oh, I don't know if I do like I do mix it up, but like for a long time, like I have to say, like the classic Pennywise, I had a thing with clowns as a kid. So Pennywise gets me. And then the other one that like got me as an adult
Mm.
was The Strangers. Like it destroyed me.
I love that. It's because it's realistic.
I think so. I think that's what it was. But I remember my girlfriend and I went to the theater in LA, and we didn't know anything about the movie, and we just went, the two of us, and we were both like not okay for like several days. Afterwards, I remember calling her like in the middle of the night. I was like, I'm not gonna sleep. Like, can you come over? I'm scared. I'm like a 26-year-old, 27-year-old woman, and I'm legitimately afraid to be alone right now. Can you please come?
You played a character that peels off their skin and transforms into a werewolf, but it's the strangers that gets you.
I can't handle it. I can't handle the strangers.
But I think you
Too
want to
much
think
for
about
me.
Pennywise as well, because clowns, I was never personally afraid of clowns, but it
Yeah.
is something that comes up all the time.
Yeah.
People are like can't do clowns.
Yeah, there's just something, I don't know what it was. I don't know what, like in my childhood, if I had like a toy or a stuffed clown, like I don't know what it is, but there's something that like it gets me good. So I'll try to like, yeah, we'll rewatch various, versions of it. And I like that a lot too. Yeah.
To do the Bill Skarsgård one.
Yes, yeah. And also the old school, the original is also amazing.
That's Tim Curry, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
actually also recently watched which as a kid I remember watching, and I showed my daughter because she's getting really into like she loves Halloween, she loves watching scary stuff, but she's only 8, so I'm like trying to figure out where the line is.
Mm. Yeah.
But I showed her that movie. Do you remember that movie Witches with Angelica Houston? And it's like the witches turn the children all into mice and they're trying to kill them. It was terrifying.
Yeah, that's like nightmare fuel, and it's supposed to be a kid's film.
Yes,
No, it's not.
it was like we watched that a couple of weeks ago, and it was legitimately like it checks out. I was like, oh yeah, no, this is creepy. And also, I think Jim Henson, there was like some of his puppetry, like puppet stuff happening there. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, but that was like a recent one that I revisited that I found really really good. So yeah.
And in terms of remakes, because I know a lot of the classics and horror fans are very passionate about topics like this. I'm
Yeah.
who I don't mind a remake if it's done for the right reasons. Because, for example, Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of the film. I was just like, I
Yeah.
like it, but like it didn't make me want to read the books or nothing. But the
Yeah.
show, oh my God, the show Interview with
Okay.
the Vampire,
Okay.
stop. It's art.
Oh, interesting.
Done
I'll
it.
have to check it out. Okay.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it. No.
I wish I were you so I could experience it for the first time again. Seriously. And
Okay.
it's one
That's
of those
exciting.
rare instances of capturing like the original work so well, but doing it such
Yeah.
justice. But how do you feel
Yeah.
about remakes in general?
Yeah, I think, I'm the same. I don't hate on remakes. I do think that like Hollywood can go a little crazy sometimes. It's like, and also if they do it too soon, it's like,
Mm.
give it the time to breathe. One of the best remakes that I think I've ever seen and experienced was Funny Games, the Michael Haneke. Have you seen that one?
No.
I guess, is it horror? I mean, yeah, it's horror for sure. It's horror because it's terrifying. It's like in the vein of Strangers, but he made the film, and then Hollywood asked him to remake it, and he was like, "Okay, I'll remake this film." And he cast like Naomi Watts and Michael Pitt, and he literally made the movie like his own movie, shot for shot, but just in English, which
Wait,
I
I
thought
think
was
I have
brilliant.
heard. I think I have heard of that. I just haven't seen it.
Yeah,
That it's literally
yeah.
beat by beat the same
He
film.
literally was like, okay, fine. You want me to remake my movie? Sure, I'll remake my movie in English because I guess some people can't read subtitles, right? So he redid it, but it's like every little nuance, every detail, he just remade his entire movie just in English, which I thought was so great. It's so brilliant.
And is it just as
It's
good as
sort
the
of such
original?
a good like you to what's that?
Is it just as good as the original?
It is. It's great. It's really great. Both of them are like really, really good. I would watch the first one first just because I don't know, that's just me, but the one with Michael Pitt and Naomi Watts and who plays the husband, it's also like it's terrifying and horrific.
What's it called? Funny Games. Hang on, just quick.
Funny
I
games.
have to
Yeah.
Google it because that's annoying me now. I'm almost certain I know the film that you're on about. Funny Games. In 1997?
Yes, exactly. 1997 is probably the original.
Yeah, Austrian.
Austrian. Yes, there we
Yeah.
go. I was going to say German, but yeah, there we go. So I loved so much that he just was like, sure, I'll remake my own movie.
Boss move.
Yeah, totally. Such a boss move.
Uh, but you touched earlier on the music for Trick or Treat, and it just brought to mind. I'm the same with music. I have like five different Halloween playlists. It depends what mood
Yeah,
we're listening to on the.
yeah.
Is there a go-to song every year that you listen to that you're like, yes, it is.
Well, I mean, look, having an 8-year-old daughter, all we listened to on the way to school this morning was Monster Mash. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm trying to branch out a little bit. We're alternating between that and Chapel Roan, which is cool. But yeah, like what have I been trying? I've been trying recently to like because it's Halloween and sort of that vibe. So what have I tried recently? We've tried I tried I tried Slipknot. I tried Hole. I tried what else did I try?
Okay.
Yeah, we're trying sort of out some different genres, and she's into it, which I love. I love that she's willing to like, because we're very into like, pop music, and that's like when we listen to music in the car ride to and from school. So because she wants like more Halloweeny music, I'm like, all right, well, let's explore these very dark, some Marilyn Manson, which, it's got Halloween vibes for sure.
I mean, I guess she's of that age for like the Slipknot and all that those kind of bands. Because you just name dropped like two of my favorite teenage bands.
Yeah, me too. I
Yeah.
know. That's why I'm like, okay, come on. Like, let's
Yeah,
get into it.
exactly.
And she loves seeing the masks and stuff because it's like
Ah.
super creepy. So, yeah.
And you said she's super poppy. Is it all Taylor Swift and stuff as well?
It's so much Taylor Swift, so much Taylor Swift, so much Olivia Rodrigo. yeah, we're doing the like chaperone right now, which is nice. But yeah, she'll which I'm slowly trying to branch out.
Hey, I got dragged into the Taylor Swift phase when I was like 14 and I'm still in it and I'm happily.
Oh yeah, I don't hate on Taylor Swift. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm here for it for sure.
But in terms then of your career, just to wrap things up, because I don't want to derail us too much. I know it's like an impossible question, but like given the fact you have done so much TV and you've done so much film, what would you say could you pinpoint as being one of your absolute favorite performances where you feel like I nailed it and I'm so proud?
Oh wow. Wow.
I know it's like asking you to pick a favorite child. It's such a shit question. I'm
I
sorry.
know, but it's also so like hard. Like, when did I just nail it? Like, as an actor, it's so hard to like because we always see the the little things that we could have done better. Or I wish I would have tried
Yeah.
this. There was a movie that I did several years ago called Helen that I'm really proud of. Um, it was a really special movie for a lot of different reasons, but it's about mental illness, and I did that movie with Ashley Judd, and it holds a special place in my heart. I think that movie, it was really challenging, and it was really a weird experience, but it does, like, when I watch the movie, I do think it worked. It was a really beautiful movie. It's very hard to watch.
Mm.
um so maybe Helen. But yeah, it's really hard to say. It's hard to pick like where I thought that I was like where I nailed it.
I feel like as people as well, we're so inclined to not praise ourselves that it's like you don't
Yeah.
want to say like, yeah, that's the best that I've done because it's like,
Yeah, exactly. I
yeah.
know, it's true. I can always do better. So maybe, it's yet to come. Maybe it's something that that will happen in the next year or two. That's what I'm going to put out into the universe.
In terms of as a viewer, because I love like dissecting things, breaking things down, how did they do it, all that kind of fun stuff. Can you watch film the same way as like a viewer like me could, or do you find yourself constantly taking notes as to, oh, camera angles, love that. Oh, I like this particular actress. I'm going to watch more of her style.
Right. I think I can. Yeah, especially like I for me that's the sign of like an incredible movie, right? There where I just sort of get sucked into the story. I get sucked into that world for 90 minutes or 2 hours or whatever and just escape. And then I'm just like, oh, okay, if I'm not thinking about like, oh, I wonder how many takes they had to do, or I wonder like how, if they could have gone there a little bit more emotionally, or I wonder if the wig could have been glued on a bit better, or any of those things, right? Then if I don't think of any of those things, then I guess, yeah. And that does happen quite often where I just like, sit down, and the most recently was Strange Darling. Have you seen that one?
Oh my God, yeah.
Like, to me, that was just it was a perfect film. Like, the acting, the camera work, the directing, the cinematography, I just thought it was brilliant. And like, I remember, seeing that movie, and then I was like, I could just walk right back into the theater and watch it
And
again.
again,
I was so taken with it. So that was probably the last time that I felt that way about a film, where I just got completely, yeah, wrapped up in the story.
I just want to ask you quickly about your creative process because I didn't ask. When you're trying
Mhm.
to get into the mindset of a role, be it you just got the script or you have the rough idea of who the character is going to be, do you have a particular process in terms of like how you will develop the character and flesh it out? Like you'll only listen to a certain playlist or you'll kind of shut yourself away to get in.
Mhm. When I was younger, I used to do a lot more, and I used to think it was necessary to.
Mm.
And I used to, try out different things or different ways or different things. You take these acting classes, and they teach you like, oh, if this is what you need to do to get here emotionally, or, um, and I've kind of let that all go. I feel like, to me, for me now, for my process, like the things that are really important to me is like, it's more, I guess it's more of an instinctual thing. So it's really important for me to immediately have an idea of what the character is going to look like. Like, physically, I'd like to like picture and talk to the wardrobe and the hair and makeup team, so we all can sort of be on the same page and create the character's look. And then from there, it kind of just, keeps going. And it's like, okay, well, based on that look, how does the character move, or how does the character talk, or what makes the most sense. Um, but I've just found it's easier to sort of to go into things a little bit more open too, because you never know how, you know, how your director is going to be, or how your director, what their process is like, what the other actors processes are like. So for me now, it's really just sort of like trusting my instincts, going with instinctually like what feels right, having the look down. um, Definitely music, I think, is always like plays a part to a certain degree. Like I will definitely be more inclined to like listen to certain genres depending on the character.
Mm.
um, but yeah, nothing that like specific anymore of like needing to, you know, I remember like when I was younger, I'd be like, all right, I'm not talking to anyone for you know, a month while I'm shooting, and I'm gonna feel what the character would feel and go through. And now I'm like, I don't, it's not really necessary for me, for my process anymore. I feel like, you know, as an actor, we learn, and what makes actors, I think, able to do what they do is we have to be really empathetic people and really open. So I just think, you know, surrendering to that and being open to that, and just being open to the experience and to being in the moment, that I think has worked the best for me over the last several years. Yeah.
There must be a freeness to that as well, of going in knowing that you can change on the hop.
Yeah, yeah, that's just it. And I think that probably what happened, you know, when I was a bit younger is like you get sort of stuck and rigid with like, oh, but I was going to do it this way. And then if, you know, if the director's has a different vision and you're like, but I don't, I'm not, no, that's not what I want to do. And then you can get kind of like stuck in that. And so it definitely is freeing, and it definitely is like you can just sort of like, yeah, relax into it if you're just open to sort of the whole process and everyone's process, and embrace everyone's processes. Because certainly there's times that you know, I will work with other actors who have very different processes, and that's super cool and that's great. And as long as they're open to my way, I'm open to theirs, and we can all just sort of like make it work, right? So yeah, I think, and also it is like you said, it's way less stressful.
Lauren, I've kept you long enough. Thank you so much for sitting and chatting and for sharing some of the.
Of course, this was super fun. Yeah, I love chatting with you. It was great.
And that is it for my chat with Lauren. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Again, a massive, massive, massive thank you to Lauren for being such a cool sport and being chill enough to sit and talk and yap all things horror and Halloween. What's funny is I bought this top at a convention at the beginning of the year. I hadn't seen like trick or treat wearable merch out in public ever. And I was walking through, I was at Liverpool Comic Con, and I was walking through the stalls and I saw this from across the room, and I swear to God, I nearly took out 3 people in my quest to get from point A to point B to get to the stall to buy it. I was just barreling through crowds. So it felt fitting to wear, and I'm just, I'm just so happy. But yeah, as I've been saying so often recently, make sure you keep your eyes on my channel, because I have more special guests coming up to talk all things Halloween. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you all soon.